Sabbath, also as he entered the synagogue and taught. And a man was there whose right hand was withered. So the scribes and the Pharisees watched him closely, whether he would heal on the Sabbath, that they might find an accusation against him. But he knew their thoughts, and he said to the man who had the withered hand, "Arise, and stand here." And he arose and stood. Then Jesus said to them, "I'll ask you one thing. Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do evil? To save life or to destroy?" And when he looked around at them all, he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And he did so, and his hand was restored as full as the other. But then they were filled with rage and discussed with one another what they might do to Jesus.
This scene might as well have been set in a courtroom because of all the drama that had gone on. It was a first-century law and order episode that would change the lives of everyone there. You've heard the facts in the story, but what really happened that day?
Now it happened on another Sabbath, also, that Jesus entered the synagogue and taught. And a man was there whose right hand was withered.
The scripture doesn't tell us why the man's hand was withered. Maybe a wound or injury had taken the life out of it. Perhaps it had been that way from birth. We don't know. Either way, it was useless to him, shriveled and withered. The only thing this man's hand was able to hold was shame and embarrassment. He had been rejected and made fun of, perhaps even tortured. But there in the synagogue, amidst everyone else whose hands were whole and perfect, Jesus saw him.
So the scribes and the Pharisees watched him closely, whether he would heal on the Sabbath, that they might find an accusation against him.
Perhaps they even pushed the man forward, begging Jesus, "Here he is, one of your broken ones. What are you going to do with him? You usually heal them, don't you? You can't resist mocking us with your miracles." Perhaps their own perfect hands were a little clammy as they watched to see what Jesus would do as he looked upon this man who couldn't pick up so much as a tablet. Would he break the Sabbath right there in the synagogue?
But Jesus knew their thoughts.
And he turned his gaze to the hearts of the religious leaders, which, interestingly enough, looked a lot like the man's hand, withered. For whatever reason, they had stopped growing and shriveled. Maybe a wound or injury had taken the life out of their hearts. Perhaps the hardness of unyielding religion had stunted their growth. But just like the man, the Pharisees tried to keep their withered hearts tucked away from the penetrating stare of Jesus.
Jesus said to the man who had the withered hand, "Rise and stand here."
"No, I don't want to. I don't want to be up in front of anyone. Please don't embarrass me. I only came to hear what you would have to say. Please don't humiliate me in front of all of these people. I am not welcome here." But something moved the man forward.
And he arose and stood.
A hush fell over the courtroom. If Jesus healed the man, the Pharisees would accuse him of breaking the Sabbath. What kind of Jew is he if he works in the synagogue? But if he didn't heal the man, the crowd just might turn on him for calling him up there and then being so cruel. What happened to his power? Does he really think he's God? The crowd wanted a miracle. The Pharisees wanted a conviction. And Jesus wanted to reveal the heart of God.
Then Jesus said to them, "I ask you one thing. Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do evil? To save life or to destroy?"
Gentlemen of this self-appointed jury, it is never unlawful to do good on the Sabbath. Which of you, if you had a sheep that fell into a pit, wouldn't pull him out on the Sabbath? It is never unlawful to do good, no matter what day of the week. But it is a mockery to claim to be so holy as to have mercy on one in pain, and then to use the Sabbath as your excuse for cruelty. You would have me heal this man, and then accuse me of breaking the Sabbath when you have already broken it in your hearts by plotting evil against us both.
And when Jesus had looked around at them all, he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand."